We have breaking news as the Detroit Red Wings have just made a blockbuster trade, bringing in Justin Faulk to bolster this blue line ahead of this year's Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to break down how this trade changes everything for this Red Wings team moving forward and possibly saving Steve Yzerman's job at this year's trade deadline. We're going to break down all of that and more in this episode of Red Wings Digest. There's a lot to get to. So Mark, let's just get right to it. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything that's happening with the Detroit Red Wings. Still 95% of you guys who watch these videos are not subscribed. And again, if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the Red Wings heading into the playoffs, we're going to keep you covered here with game recaps, trades, all that fun stuff. Maybe not trades because obviously trade deadline, but Justin Faulk has just been acquired. And Mark, the first video we ever made on this channel was how the Red Wings cannot pass up the opportunity to trade for Justin Faulk at this year's trade deadline. And lo and behold, he is now a Detroit Red Wing. You can see here the Red Wings have made the trade with the St. Louis Blues. Now, it cost them Justin Holl, which at the end of the day, Justin Holl was playing with the Grand Rapids Griffins. No, significant input for the Red Wings over the last year or so. A good, prospect and a first round pick, as well as San Jose's third round pick in this year's draft. So Mark, what do you make of this trade? I have to say, this is great work, I think, from Steve Yzerman. We were talking about it, back in that first video, that this is a player of great interest for this team. You bolstered the blue line, which we were talking about. You got your right shot defenseman. You had a ton of cap space to do it. You have the assets to do it. Just made a ton of sense to me. I think if you're a Red Wings fan, you got to be happy about this.
And I think looking at this, of course, Justin Holl doesn't really mean anything. It's just a contract, like you said, just being thrown out to get off the books. And of course, he's not playing. But looking at the trade, moving to first, a prospect that's in the KHL right now, a former second-round pick that's at just above a half a point a game with SKS, I believe it is. But this is exactly what this team needed to do. And I think Stevie Y did exactly what fans were calling for. You went out to pick up a guy that's not only someone that can play on the power play or a bit of penalty kill time. This is a guy that's putting up respectable numbers on the St. Louis Blues, a team that was second to last in the entire National Hockey League. And Darius, looking at the points, he's putting up respectable points, goals, assists. He has a good shot. He's putting up block shots. He doesn't hit a lot, but listen, that's fine. You get an offensive puck-moving defenseman. And the big thing with Justin Faulk, too, is a lot of people don't look at the fact that this is not a rental. This is a guy that's going to be a part of this organization that can fill that spot on that second pairing for quite some time. This year, next year, maybe an extension does end up coming through. But looking at the team before the trade, yes, the defense still looked good. But now looking at this, with Justin Faulk coming in, you get Ben Sherrod, a hard-nosed defenseman that's going to hit anyone that comes near him, and now a partner that can go out to move the puck, get the offense going. We know this is a team that struggles 5-on-5 for time after time, but looking at the numbers, yes, the effective offense doesn't look the best when looking at this, but he's a guy that was putting up good numbers. Effective offense can only go so far when you're actually putting up decent numbers. And looking at Jay Fresh, just speaking on this, we can see he's a veteran defenseman, has taken more of a defensive role this season, but that's a guy that still has 30 points, would step into this blue line on a darling of a contract with the cap world going up. Darius, I don't know if you feel different. And listen, of course, Steve saved his job. If he went out to only make that David Perron move, fans would have been rioting. But what is your thoughts on not only just picking up a depth piece that we will touch on, but going out to get the legitimate position of need within this organization?
Stevie Y also picked up some draft capital at the trade deadline as well, making that trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins. But you're right. If he only traded for Perron, it would have been a disaster. Fans were already talking about it last night. If this is the only move, I am going to crash out. And obviously, we don't know exactly the health status on, Perron. He should return soon. He should be in the lineup. He's going to play, it sounds like. So that's fine and dandy. He said he never really liked the fit in Ottawa either. But we know that fans would have been mad with that. But now with Justin Faulk, it makes a lot of sense. Like you brought up with the defense pairings there, it makes a lot of sense. And he has a big booming slap shot from the point. Like, that's something that's a lost art in the NHL now, right? Like, everyone wants to snap these shots in, and it's because the game is so fast, but man, he can still zing them in there with that big booming slap shot. So I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do. He's underrated physically. He can play defense. He has playoff experience, all that stuff. And he signed next year as well. Like, he had term on the contract. This is a good trade. This is a good trade for where the Red Wings are at. You can take on the full salary too. We knew that he was going to be expensive. Most things were going to be expensive at this year's trade deadline, right? But moving forward, you have a ton of cap space to kind of shelter that, to go out and make other moves if you want. This makes a lot of sense. And the biggest thing is, to me, Mark, I know they didn't go out and get a center, which is what we were talking about too, but this team's still playing, fine. Obviously not that great in March. They have to get going here and make the playoffs still. But when you add this piece to the blue line, you reward the team. You had guys like Dylan Larkin calling out, not necessarily calling out, but speaking out and saying, we need to add. We need to add at this year's trade deadline, not just this year's, but last year's. You had guys like Raymond saying the same thing. We need to add to this team at the trade deadline. We need to add some more pieces. They do exactly that. And I think that Justin Faulk, I mean, he's the perfect fit. We were talking about it, right? When you're talking about they need a center or a right shot defenseman. To me, it was Justin Faulk. And it was Vincent Trocheck, and Trocheck didn't get traded. So I think this is the perfect move for where this team is at, and I'm excited to see them make the playoffs and what type of noise he can make in the playoffs.
And I think that's a big thing. Listen, you still have a lot of cap space. Of course, this is without the Justin Faulk contract on it, but this gives the Red Wings the opportunity to go out in this offseason, continue to add. You can pick up a free agent. Detroit's going to become a very hot destination when you're looking in and even looking at some of the guys within the organization. They're starting to get old. A lot of the guys are going to start making the jump from Euro leagues, from the AHL, from junior leagues. These guys are going to start joining the organization. Of course, the other trade that we've seen with the Pittsburgh Penguins, they did give up and originally belonging to the San Jose Sharks. So you're flipping picks and figuring things out. But even looking at the draft capital, yes, you moved out of first this year, but you're a team that's inspiring to go on a bit of a run in the playoffs. So the first could turn into a late second, whatever that might be. But Darius, you still have 3 first-round picks over the next 4 years. You have 3 second-round picks over the next 4 years. When working your way down, yes, you give up a pretty penny to bring in an aging defenseman, yes, but a guy with term, someone that jumps into this team, immediately makes you better. But I think you didn't sacrifice a lot. You're looking at a lot of this. Kasper's name was thrown around constantly for the big name fish, Quinn Hughes, Trocheck, any of these guys. But I think at the end of the day, you came out very good. You don't move out the guys that you like. You drafted them for a reason. Yes, you give up picks, but that first round pick could turn into the next Neil Yakupov. And then what? You have nothing to show for it. So I think this is the trade that actually works out very well. And when you're looking at David Perron and that trade as well, you added depth at the forward position, a second right D, and you still kept pretty much all of your expensive assets.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you went there, and that's a great point, because when looking at this team, they didn't give anything up off the immediate roster, really, and they didn't give up any crazy things in terms of futures. Obviously, it's a first-round pick, but I don't think this team needs to be worrying about first-round picks right now. You need to get this team, this roster, into the playoffs to get them playoff experience. Now, if it's against the Buffalo Sabres, that's going to be a crazy series, I think, but they need to get into the playoffs, get playoff experience, and you do not need to worry about assets like that for the foreseeable future, because you want this team with the core group of players like Raymond, like Mo Sider, the fact that you have John Gibson now, and some really good goalies coming up through the pipeline as well. You want this team to get playoff experience so then they can go on runs in the next couple of years. So I don't mind it. And Faulk is back next year, right? This is not a rental by any means. Like you've added this piece now to this team for the foreseeable future. So again, does he re-sign after next year? I don't know, but then you can add some more pieces. And Axel Sandin-Pellikka will be a couple years older, stuff like that. Also, keep in mind that Axel Sandin-Pellikka was sent down to Grand Rapids Griffins and then called back up this afternoon. Some weird roster stuff going on, so just keep that in mind, because the Red Wings play, by the way. We have games to play after all of this. But all in all, to say, Mark, I think it's a great trade. Red Wings fans should be absolutely fired up about this. And it's not just a rental for this year, because you might be thinking, in years past when teams make trades like this, oh, we only have him now, and if we get eliminated from the playoffs, a first round pick, and now we have nothing to show for it. No. He'll be back next year too, so you can go on a couple runs here. So I like it. I think it's a great trade. Let us know how you feel about Justin Faulk being acquired in the comments down below. Let us know how you feel about Stevie Y's deadline as well, because it was very interesting. We'll see you guys for some more content down the road as well, because we have a lot to talk about with this team heading into April.